Hello, welcome to Robo Dojo anywhere, anytime. I'm your librarian, Dan Lo. Things are getting exciting. In today's tutorial, we're going to learn how to develop a very basic version of the guessing number game. How does guessing number work? In our case, the robot will think of a number and then it'll give you a few opportunities to guess the number. So let's get started. By the way, I have exported the application to a GitHub repository, so you can download it from the GitHub link and then import the .crg file into Choregraphe. Alright, first thing first, let's open Choregraphe. Alright, I see the central working area lighted up, and I see my virtual robot in the robot view. In case you don't see the robot in the robot view, try to restart Choregraphe. Now let's start with our project. As usual, we will first use the box libraries view. If you didn't see the box library in any of these tabs, you can go to the view in the menu. Make sure there's a check mark before box libraries. If not, click box libraries here in the menu. Okay, click the tab search inside the box libraries, and like last time, we're going to first pick the box set language. It's always a good practice to make sure that the robot is at the original state for your application, meaning it is in a pose you like and it speaks the language you like it to speak. In this case, the set language will set to the default English language. This looks good to me. And then, if you remember from the flowchart of the guessing number game, next step, the robot is going to ask us a question to guess a number, and then it'll try to listen to our answers. Fortunately for us, in Choregraphe, we can use a pre-built box called choice with all these functions built in. How does the choice box work? If you click on choice in here, you will see a description coming up. So the choice box is actually based on the speech recognition engine. It will ask you a question and it'll listen to expected answers. And you can see two choice boxes coming up. The second one is called choice light. Basically, the difference between choice light and choice is that the choice light box wouldn't have any animations embedded. So when the robot is talking, it wouldn't have any gesture or movement. Now we are just going to use the full choice box here. So drag over to the work area. And then we connect the ready output of the set language to the start input of the choice box. And then I'm just going to connect both of the choice output to the end of the application for now. Let's first try to run this application. It's always a good practice in coding that, no matter how small your change is, you should always try to test the small part of the change before you move on to next step. So let's just try to run the default behavior of these two boxes. Okay, so we will use a dialog to simulate the behavior. By default, it asks us, do you like chocolate? I said yes, and the robot understands my answer, and it ends the application. So it looks like our application is running fine. Now let's go in and try to make some specific changes to make it the guessing game. So let's double click the choice box. It's actually composed of two different boxes. The first one is the localized text, like in the say box. By default, ask us the question, do you like chocolate? And I'm going to change it. I have a number from 1 to 10. Can you guess what it is? And then by default, it will listen to two answers, yes or no. Of course, we're not going to, the answer is not yes or no. The answer would be a series of numbers. So I just enter 1, 2, 3. And if you use the enter key, it'll have more rows coming up for you, okay? So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, as you can see, as I'm entering different choices, it automatically creates the output for each choice. So we are going to link all of these to the second output, the answer output. Alright, let's get back to the root of the application and then we test run it again. The robot said, I have a number. I'll say 1. Oh, probably I answered it too fast. Okay, I said 1 and I get an answer and then went to the end of the application. Looks good. The next step is, of course, the robot should let us know if our answer is the answer or if it's wrong. So that means when it gets the answer, we need to intercept the answer here and then let the robot make a judgment whether that answer is right or wrong. Okay, so let's remove this line. When it gets an answer, we want to use another box called switch cases, so it can differentiate different answers, okay? So we will link the answer output of the choice box to the input of the switch box. The switch box is very dynamic. It is going to take any type of input answers, whether it's a string, a number, or an event. So here, I'll just remove the hello row. We're not going to, and remove the 5. Suppose the robot, pick the number 5, and when we say 5, and the robot listens to a word called 5, it'll say it's the right answer. So as you can see here, the second output 1 meaning 5, that's our right answer, and we want the robot tell us it's the right answer, so we want the robot to say something. So I'll add a say box here. That means we win the game, and the robot should say win, right? So we double click into the say box. By default, of course, it doesn't say you win, it says hello. And we're going to change it to say, wow, you read my mind. Okay. When the answer is anything else, we want the robot to say something else too. So we can just copy the current say box and then paste it into here. And then when it's wrong, we want it to tell us it's wrong and then end the game. So we double click into it. The last time it says, well, you read my mind, but this time we wanted to say, oops, that's wrong. Okay, so we go back to the root and then we test run the application again. Say 1 and say, it says, oops, that's wrong. Let's run it again. This time I'll say 5 and I'll say, wow, you read my mind. Okay, great. So far things are looking good, but I want to add more functions to this application. So for example, if we guess the wrong number, I don't want the application just to end. I actually want the robot to give us a few tries before it ends the application. Also, when it ends the application, the robot should let us know it's game over. And of course, it'll be nice if at the beginning the robot let us know how many tries we can have. So let's try to make those changes. When we say the answer is wrong, of course we can also add the box and say this is a wrong answer. It says anytime when we give a wrong answer, it'll use this box. Same thing here, this is the right answer box, so say win. Now between the wrong answer and the end of application, I want to add some loops in there. And again, we could use a box called counter. Counter box in Python language is basically a loop. So we could connect to the event input of the box and then it'll start to count numbers. And then if you click the range here, we can change, so the initial value is 0. Like in Python, for loops and range of integers, it always starts, by default, it starts from 0. And it'll increase 1 at a time. By default, final value is 5. That means we have 6 tries, right? 0 to 5 is 6 steps. If I only wanted to give us, 3 tries, 0 to 2, that's 3 steps. Looks good to me. When the application first starts, when it sets language, I should first run through the counter. The output of counter should go to the choice, right? So in this way, we will only have 3 opportunities to guess the right number. And of course, if I double click inside the choice box, I could say I have a number from 1 to 10. Can you guess what it is? And I can add, you have 3 opportunities in total. Now we go back to the root. Alright, now let's test around the application. Open the dialog view and then run it. Okay, I'll say 1. Oops, that's the wrong answer. And I'll say 1 again. And they'll say it's the wrong answer again. Now let me say this the 3rd time. It's wrong again. And then you can see it doesn't give me another chance. It doesn't ask the question again, meaning the application ends where? Ends here on the counter output. So when the loop is over, we didn't link it to the end of the application. That's why the application is still running. So we can manually stop here by clicking stop button. Now we should add the end of the application box. It's going to be a say box again. Let's drag a say box here. Let me rearrange the boxes so you could have a clear view. Starting to look a little bit complicated. So the end of the application, I ended to the say. This say, I'm going to edit and say it say lose. Say lose. Double click into it, pick English, and it will say game over. You lose. Okay. Now let's run the application one more time. Click and go to the dialog view. So I'll say 1. It says wrong, and I'll say 2. Says that's wrong, and the next one I'll say 3. Oops, that's wrong, and it says oops, game over, you lose. Let's run it again. Okay, I'll say first time I'll say 1. It says oops, that's wrong. Second time I'll say 7. It says that's wrong. The last time I'm going to say 5. Wow, it says, wow, you read my mind. Of course, it still looks pretty dumb because answer is right there, right? You guess number 5 and the robot will say you win. Next time, in the advanced version, we are going to introduce to you how to write some very simple Python code inside the Choregraphe to make the robot randomly think of a number. And in that case, even you are the developer, you wouldn't know the right answer. And in the case you give the wrong answer, it'll let you know whether the number you give is too big or too small. So stay tuned for our next tutorial.